explaining to when a classic man is a danger to you. And me too, tatted on my forehead. Go home, go to bed. I dread something to get this way come. When the family unit is overrun, when the structure is undone by some new concoction. Now I walk softly and carry a big stick. Original gorilla in the midst.
Welcome back to the Franchise Show. I'm Joe Arrigo with the birthday boy, TQ.
Hey, I'm in the building. It's Gemini season out here. How y'all doing, man?
No, the question is, how are you doing, you lush?
Oh, man, I do have to admit, I have a bit of a headache right now.
And you got to deal with me?
Don't remind me. But I had a great birthday, I must say. Started out at Dre's on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
I completely faded.
You were wasted.
Completely wasted, man.
He was dancing. He was so wasted. He don't dance.
I was.
Well, you do this one dance, you're just like,
That's my joint. That's been my joint for years. Y'all know, check the pools, check the videos from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That's my joint. I got it patented. You know what I'm saying? I used to have more swing in the hips back in the day when I was younger. Things are slowing down a little bit, so we just kind of got a boogie, you know what I'm saying? But boy, when you're off that Belvedere and that Casamigos, you got a big fat cigar in your hand, the dance moves ain't gonna be so great, man.
You know what got me through it?
Low expectations, that's the key to happiness.
I'm not even gonna lie. You know what got me through it?
What?
That right there, the electrolyte water from the Liquids Club, our title sponsor.
Yeah. Hey, man, the water keeps you going. Keeps you going, keeps the people moving.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Look, I'll say this before we get started with everything. You know, I really don't like drinking water.
Don't I know it?
All I do is drink Liquids Club water now. Like, not just because they give it to us and it's really good.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's delicious. They got 3 flavors. Well, 3 versions. You got the alkaline, you got the electrolyte, you got the oxygenated. And it's the bomb, man. You know, I've done some research and I didn't know that water was such trash.
Yeah.
The water that we buy out of the stores and out of the gas stations and the 7-Elevens it's just trash, man. He put a nice label on it, sweet bottle. Tap water. Boiled tap water.
With chemicals in it that could kill you.
Exactly.
I'm scared to drink that stuff now, to be honest.
It's all about hydration, man. Hydration does it for you. And when you're in the desert, like the franchise,
oh boy,
got to get your water on.
Thankfully, summer hasn't really hit yet. But what's hitting right now is the still the hot subject in all of pro sports, and that's NIL. And let's start off there. Like last week, Nick Saban, the deity, the czar, the greatest coach ever in college football, and I hate to say all that. This guy's in front of all of his boosters, all of his money men, is the CEOs of all these companies down in Alabama, and they believe me, they're more than just quick trips. And they're down there, and he's telling them basically they need to raise more money. Now we've all seen the clips, and I'm gonna paraphrase now. What we've seen on the clips was Nick Saban. You hear him say, Texas A&M paid for the #1 class. We were number 2. Jackson State and HBCU paid $1 million for the top player in all of high school football last year to go there. And that's what caused the ire of Jimbo Fisher, the head coach of Texas A&M, and Deion Sanders, Jackson State's head coach. Mm-hmm. But if you go watch the whole clip, and I don't want to defend Nick Saban here, but I think we tend to jump off what context really is. We didn't use the whole context. They take the clips and they cause some type of drama and issue. Saban was telling them, look, you guys need to raise some money because this NIL deal is not going anywhere. In order for us to compete with these schools that are putting NIL basically staffs in place and have deals lined up for the players once they get there, or even prior to, which is against, but that's neither here nor there. We need to step up to the plate.
Time out.
I'm not a Bama fan saying this either.
I know, but some of this is absolutely ridiculous. Did you say something about staying competitive?
Oh, yeah.
First, you said he's got the #2 class so far behind Texas A&M, right?
Yeah.
And they have to stay competitive?
Yeah.
How many championships has he won in the last 10 years? 15? I mean, like, come on, man.
I think he's got 7.
I feel like there is a phenomenon of not reading the room going on across sports and across society. It doesn't matter what Nick Saban was talking about. It doesn't matter what the event or the meeting or the whatever it was. You can't be seen on camera saying that.
Why?
Of all the people in sports.
But
That's the last man can be caught. Even everything is a soundbite. Everything is taken out of context. Instagram is out of context.
Yeah,
YouTube out of context.
SportsCenter out of context.
Everything we do is out of context. So pay attention to the room. Pay attention to the situation. Stay competitive.
Okay, understand.
Alabama Crimson Tide, stay competitive in college football.
Yes, let me point this out to you. Jackson State, with him mentioning Jackson State, in the past, we gave them a bunch of money to come up here and get their ass kicked. Okay. Now he's mentioning them in the same breath as they're recruiting with us and against us. That's a huge step for competitive balance. That's a huge step where he was one step ahead of the game. Look, let's not be naive about this, and let's just call a spade, right? Alabama been playing, and the SEC's been paying players for years. And the SEC now, SEC now is like, oh, damn, the Pac-12 SC's in this. That's the last team we need to have in this because they're gonna. That's La La Land. That's Hollywood. They can do what they want, when they want, how they want. They're deep pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Now don't let Notre Dame really get into it.
They're gonna.
They will. Don't let Michigan and Ohio State really get into it.
They're gonna.
Like, don't let Miami, and he brings his Miami basketball. Well, they're $400,000 for their basketball team.
Hey, okay, man.
So what? But my point is, I think Jimbo Fisher also he heard some of the remarks. And if you listen to the whole thing, he's talking about in general, the NCAA, he being Nick Saban, the NCAA needs to establish something in place that with better rules, more, I don't say restrictions. They need to have more policies in place. Because what they did is they opened the barn door with the wild horses, let them run wild because, well, the Congress will take away what we have because our model isn't amateurism like we've said for years. And now they can't get the horses back in the barn. So now they're scrambling to figure out how they can do it. He's saying we need to figure this out quick because otherwise this is just going to go off the rails. Okay,
but how are you presenting that? I understand we're talking about context. It doesn't matter what the context is because whatever the piece is, it's been cut, it's been shared 1 billion times, and the bottom line is that's what it is. So you're going to either have to come back and fix it and clean it like he did or attempted to do, or you're going to have to stand your ground and explain yourself. So there's a fine line here between regulation and control. Now, the elephant in the room is that this hasn't been amateur sports. College football is not amateur sports.
Lane Kiffin said that today.
It's just, and he's right because that's not the truth. There was a time.
Oh, story time with Uncle Squeeze.
When we could sit down in front of our PlayStations or Nintendos or whatever we were doing and play a college football game.
Oh, great times.
Right?
I miss those times.
Now, they didn't have the names on their backs.
No,
we could absolutely go online and download rosters to put names on backs, faces, and everything else, and we basically had a college version of Madden.
Yep,
right?
100%. Loved it, too. Best game ever.
Not a player made a dime.
That's unfortunate.
It's ridiculous, and it's been ridiculous for a long time. And I understand Nick Saban's point about regulation because paying amateurs can turn into a detriment for the wrong kind of player or the player in the wrong situation. This can also turn college football into some glorified AAU type situation, which nobody wants to see.
It already is.
I mean, but the thing is, I guess the thing that I'm trying to get across is that he can't be the one saying it, even out of context. It just looks hypocritical. It sounds ridiculous, and it feeds the idea that there is a good old boy network in college football.
There is.
That wants to handle players like cattle.
There is.
And that
They do.
That has to stop. It has to stop now.
Well, Lane Kiffin, and we talked about it, said that this is from SI. Ross Dillinger did a phenomenal job with the article. If you get a chance to go read it, please do. He gets unfiltered on NIL. He says that Nick Saban's never retiring, that players should make their worth. This model is sustainable, and those resisting NIL will be fired. He goes on to say, how are we not a professional sport? But then Lane hit the nail on the head. He says, quote, people say no way donors are going to come up with money to pay players. Wait, these are the same donors that pay $30 million to one coach when they fire him. They're not going to raise $20 million a year for players. Yes, they are. 100% correct.
Real talk, there is no salary cap on donations. For
None.
real. And some people, they got deeper donation pockets than others, and for a lot of different valid reasons. Some of those reasons are more for their financial gain or to make sure that they don't have a financial loss, more so than donating to a cause. So a lot of things can be done through boosters and through donations. And when it comes down to your favorite alma mater winning football games, and you being able to talk about it on your boat or on the golf course or wherever,
on our show,
hey man, it's a big deal. So I agree with old Lane there.
Well, I mean, look at us. We're USC fans.
Yeah, for sure.
I love what they've done this offseason.
Oh, hell yeah.
And NIL was a major part of landing Caleb, Jordan, and everybody else, Mario, everybody else that came to USC.
I believe that NIL, it will signal the return of the Trojans to a national powerhouse.
I agree.
And it was not going to happen without it.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's talk about hometown now.
Yeah.
I've said this before on one of our shows in the past, and I'm going to reiterate it, but what do you think? Wouldn't it be nice if the owners of the properties here, all the different casinos, just ponied up? I mean, they can do it because it's a drop in the bucket for them. $1 million, maybe $2 million each, and say this is going to UNLV for NIL.
Boy,
imagine there's no other school in the country, not Miami, not LA, not Chicago, not New Orleans, not New York, not any major market, Dallas, Houston, you name it, that has what they have with that backdrop of the Strip. And imagine flying in and you look at Resorts World and it says, Terrence Quates, welcome to Las Vegas, and they got you in a UNLV uniform.
Ooh.
And you're flying in and you see that on the plane.
Can you call somebody over there and let's try it? Let's just see what it looks like.
If I knew that, we would already be doing the show in one of those
Come on,
properties,
man.
man. I mean, insane.
Now that's a big deal. That's a hell of an idea. I still think it's kind of a funky line between gambling and college sports that, maybe in time in the future, that line will get blurred or either defined a little better. But I do think that that's lingering around the Strip. But at the same time, that's an entertainment place. And if, UNLV get to winning some games, it's going to turn the attention to the city.
Well, you win
Going to
games
UNLV.
by getting players.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we got some guys here in the city.
Yeah.
And then you have NIL that also it trickles down to high school. You got Mikey Williams that got a high school basketball player that got $1 million deal with Puma. Hasn't played a collegiate basketball game yet.
Yeah, but got the people's attention, man. Man got how many followers?
Well, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think this comes down to across entertainment now, because of social media and because of the ability for a entity or a celebrity or whatever to actually touch the fans. Companies now are just basically looking at, okay, what can this personality do for us? Right? It's not it used to kind of be the other way around. You recognize the talent in somebody and then you kind of latch on, put some resources behind it. Now it's like you recognize the talent in somebody, but then let me sit back and watch what they're going to generate on their own.
Right.
So Mikey's a hell of a basketball player. We all know this, right? But did he get the deal off of being a hell of a basketball player, or did he get the deal off of being a hell of a popular basketball player? I think it's a popularity contest first and foremost. that's, once again, I'm not taking anything away from Mikey's skills because he's a baller. But at the same time, these companies get behind people who have a crowd, who have eyes on them, who have followers and likes and, you know, can move a crowd. Puma is looking at, okay, we can get with Mikey and service Mikey's crowd.
Well, I think it's projecting. They're projecting future gain, like off his future, what they think he's gonna do. I mean, because we all seen it. We seen it with. I mean, look at Sebastian Telfair.
Yeah.
Look at even Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
You know,
good ones.
You know, you're looking at guys that.
But I will say this though, if you compared the situations, Mikey's basketball is on display so much more than any of those guys was at the time when their futures were being projected. So you can make a projection based on, you can see much more about the player or the personality than you used to could back in the day. Mm-hmm. There's so much more chances to see the guy's personality, right? Is he a good spokesman? Is he a good this? Is he a good that? Where back in the day, man, all you could really do was see them guys when they was on the court.
Well, I mean, LeBron, a month before the draft, signed his Nike deal, which got, I think it was $19 million at the time, was the largest ever. Mm-hmm. And people made a big deal about that. I just think this is the future. I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen other ball players get behind specific brands, and those brands push those ball players socially, and then try to, at one point, create a super team.
It's possible. Those are the things that I mean when I say that fine line between regulation. Like that, like some things, it's like you get some super creation that somebody's made, right? And they always say, oh, but this gets in the wrong hands and it could destroy everything, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, man. It's like when entertainment is the end goal, there's no telling what
For real.
Out of boundary stuff is going to take place. So yeah, it's going to have to be some kind of, the whole policy and the policy making, that part is going to have to get a little deeper, get a little better, get a little more clearly defined. But it's like you say, man, the floodgates is open.
Well,
and they're not coming back.
To your point about defined regulations, here in Las Vegas and in the state of Nevada, the NIAA is planning to have an NIL protocol and some type of rules in place before the start of fall.
For high school.
For high school.
Okay.
I mean, look, you got Zach Branch, you got Donnie Paulette, you got Micah.
Yes, you got some athletes out here in Vegas.
Elijah Palmer. You know, you got a bunch of guys that are ballers out here that could get deals.
Yeah, for sure.
Very easily. And they want to have something in place. From my understanding, and this is just based off of people I talk to, whatever. Sources told me that they have something that pretty much the rules are pretty much what they want to do already locked in and in place, and that they have to vote on them, and that should happen in the next few weeks. So it could be done, obviously, by mid-July, where everything is in place. And
so we'll get some bylaws basically on what can happen
Yes.
and what can't happen with high school kids before the football season starts.
100%. Okay. And that's great for the high school athletes. Because, look, you also have, thinking out the box, there's 3 girls that play flag football at Gorman right now. They're the 3 best in the country. They got 20 offers for flag football for the 20 schools that play flag football.
Wow.
And 1 is a freshman.
Wow.
So, I mean, you have that. You have Centennial basketball out here.
Yeah.
You have, then we didn't even talk about the Lady Rebel basketball team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let's talk about the Aces.
Boy, man, I like winning in Las Vegas.
They have the best intro and the best vibe at a stadium than anybody in Las Vegas.
What? Wait.
Hey, he didn't expect me to say that.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, man. Don't you know it's a fortress in this city, bro? Are you serious? It's a fortress and a Death Star in this city? What are you talking about?
Bro, let me tell you. Their intro now, they debuted it a week ago Tuesday. They come out to We Be Clubbing. On the screen, it's like they're all at a club. They're dancing. You taking pictures, modeling on a craps table, at the table.
For real?
Turning up at bottle service.
The team,
and the Michelob Ultra Arena, it's black, and you got laser shows going on.
Yeah,
it is lit. I mean, the whole crowd is into it. It is the best intro of any team in Vegas. And I know we talk about the Golden Knights and what they do, but they fell off this year since the guy left and went to Seattle that made all that. The Raiders is the Raiders. It's still the Raiders. This blows them out the water 150%.
Wow. So, I mean, what, did they hire somebody new to produce the show, or did they like?
There's a whole new entertainment staff that came in that Mark Davis brought in.
Okay.
And it's not just that the in-game entertainment is always live. You know that. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
So picture what we've experienced during the playoffs last year.
Okay.
Times 2 in a regular season. It's that times 2.
All right. It's time for me to go to a game now.
So
I ain't been to one yet.
So yeah, but the biggest draw, I think, and I'm talking about it from an on the court standpoint. When they let Bill Laimbeer go, and they hired Becky Hammon. Becky Hammon right now is the best coach in the WNBA, and she's head and shoulders above everybody else. What she's done is brought in a new style of basketball. It is like Showtime basketball in the 80s. It's a lot like the Warriors basketball when they had KD. She's gotten the most out of not only Asia and Kelsey Plum, but Jackie, as well as the hidden secret, Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray is making no-look passes. I mean, she had one a week ago, gets the ball on a long rebound. Kelsey Gray is sprinting down the court. She no-looks it, literally looks one way, flips it, one hop on a easy layup.
Bounce pass?
Throws it in the air. It takes one bounce. And it was probably a good like 40 feet.
Sound like MJ.
She
looks
magic
like it. Man.
And she I think it's funny when she runs up the court, she like tiptoes. Yeah. It's like real short. And it's cool. But they are an entertaining group, and they're the best team in the NBA. One loss. Blown out everybody. I mean, they lost to Washington. That was like their second or third game. They've been on a run ever since.
The thing is, though, man, I mean, damn, that's basketball everywhere. Like, that stuff that they've been running the last couple of years, man, it was just old. It was slow. It was cool. You could just pound people down and just grind them into submission for the regular season. But once you got in the playoffs and the stakes went up and everybody's moving faster and everybody got a little more oomph to the game, that's slowing down the Aces would slow down breaks, whether they was waiting on Liz or they was whatever the case may be. It was some old school 70s type pre-Showtime Laker basketball, which was just slow. It wasn't attractive. It wasn't entertaining, and it didn't make for winning, especially in the playoffs. So, it's been 10 games now. Has it even been 10 games yet? I don't know if I could just co-sign as
man, you better co-sign. I'm telling you,
Becky Hammon being the best coach in the WNBA. Come on, man, it's her first year.
I'm gonna tell you,
she's coached a couple of games. Maybe by the end of the season, she will. Can we save the Hall of Fame jacket for a couple of weeks, please, sir?
Because we shouldn't have to, goodness. And we do this all the time with athletes and people in general. We don't recognize greatness as it's happening. We want to look back on it.
I have not seen greatness
yet. Let me tell you. This woman, I'm sitting behind her on the bench. They're playing Phoenix, and she comes out, and you could tell she's just agitated and pissed off. She's the look on her face. And the first half of that game, it was literally like two heavyweight champions throwing just knockout blows on each other. And you're like, okay, this is going to be a really good game. But she's livid because they're not getting back on defense. They're not playing great defense. They're missing layups. She walks by and was like, how many effing layups are we going to blow? It was phenomenal. And then second half comes out at halftime. She is a completely different person. She's relaxed. She's laughing. It looked like she took a happy pill. the Aces come out and go on like a 16-0 run, and part of that run, Skylar Diggins-Smith and Diana Taurasi have to be separated on the Mercury bench, and the game's over. They beat them by like damn near 30.
And you're going to give all of this to Becky Hammond. You're going to give none of it to the fact that Phoenix may possibly be missing something pretty big from their team.
I understand not having Brittany Griner there, but from a roster standpoint, they match up very well. Griner is the X factor with anybody in that league. But the reality is the adjustments made at halftime that Becky Hammond makes, the other coaches aren't making those same adjustments, which she's gotten the most. Jackie is damn. She's not just the most improved player in the WNBA. She's an MVP candidate. Same thing with Asia. Same thing with Kelsey. Chelsea Gray could be up in there too.
They have space to play basketball now.
And exactly.
That's the difference between them last year and now.
Phoenix
they have
has
space to play basketball now.
And they got shooters.
Okay, so you mean to tell me you're saying that Phoenix is a better team without Brittany Griner, a la the Aces being a better team without Liz Cambage? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is Phoenix right now matches up player for player with the Aces, but the Aces and what they do is that much better. And not just maybe on the court, because there's I wish I had her name on top of my head. I see her face. She matches up well with Jackie. Diana Taurasi's the GOAT. She can still drop 30 any given night.
Okay. This is all fact.
Okay. Asia is a matchup problem down low, but they have Tina Charles, who gives her fits.
Okay, so at some point, I believe Brittany Griner is not going to be in Russia. She's going to be on the court. If she makes it before this season is over, what's going to happen then? Because the last time,
but again, that's
all I'm saying is
the last time,
you got to beat the champion to beat a champion. So I'm not going off this Hall of Fame Becky Hammond route. I'm not going off, Aces. They're doing so great. You're beating Phoenix without Brittany. I want to see you beat Phoenix with Brittany. If you can beat Phoenix with Brittany, you'll be a champion. That's the way I see it.
I'm just saying.
I think you like to like boost it up and make it sound wonderful and like blah 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 blah. Oh, this has been beautiful. What happened if they go on a 8-game losing streak for the next 8 games? Then what happens?
They're not, so I'm not worried about it.
But you don't know that. I'm saying, what happens then? If they do, I'm gonna light you up on this show.
What if a toad had wings? What if a turtle had wings and wouldn't hit its ass on the ground when it walks?
Becky Hammond is the best
Go ahead.
coach we've ever seen in the history of basketball.
No, I understand. It's a WNBA.
God. The woman coached 2 games, man. Give us a break. Give it some time. Maybe she is. But what's their record? 9-1, 8-1, something like that?
Yeah, 9-1, I believe.
Come on, man.
They played the most games in the WNBA, and they still are just.
How many games in the season?
I'm not off the top of my head.
All right, talk to me later on about that. Doing too much at the moment.
No, I'm not doing too much.
I'll say this though. I will say this.
Here he goes.
I think we may be looking at our first champion around these parts.
100%. And you know,
we may be looking at a parade out here in Las Vegas.
Oh God, that'd be great.
Yeah, man.
But it'd be in the summer though, so they gotta have it leading to like a pool.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Or they can have it and then we go to a pool. That works.
Hey, but I want to put a bow on this, but you brought up Liz Cambage.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say something that I don't think a lot of people said publicly. Mm-hmm. I will. She's overrated.
Yeah.
You look at when she came to the Aces, that she got hurt and she couldn't play for that reason, but they go against Washington. They didn't have her. They go to the finals. They lose to Washington. They have her. You see what we talked about, the slow, grind out game, just things weren't working. Then she leaves because I think she's more interested in her modeling career and that's great. DJing, great. That's you. Fine, perfect. But then she goes to LA and LA looks like trash.
I just think we have seen basketball itself has gotten away from the back to the basket, big man, big woman. It's just not the way anymore. she is a really good post player.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a half court based offense, you're not swinging the ball around a lot. She can pound in there, but that's just not the game right now. Most teams aren't playing that brand of basketball. The Aces, I think, understood that brand of basketball was actually an Achilles heel for them.
Well, I think with Becky, when she took the job, she said, "I didn't want her." That's. I think that's part of it too.
Makes sense. Becky came from the NBA.
She came from Pop.
And so you look at the systems that you're watching every night. I mean, the Warriors came in and revolutionized this thing like the Lakers did back in the 80s. Like, the ball is swinging, the ball is moving. Most players can play multiple positions. The stamina, the workout regimens and the training and the all of the kinesiology and all of the other stuff that people are into right now that wasn't a factor back in the day. I think those things. I don't think that she's overrated. I just think that for her style of play, man, it's just out of there right now. I don't know if it's coming back. Because honestly, they play a more entertaining brand of basketball right now. Like, it's more fun to watch.
Let me ask you a question. Have you, since you haven't been to a game, since you've been back, put any games on TV or watch where you're at?
Yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah, they are.
I've done it twice.
They swinging the ball, man. I like movement. I love that movement, and the ball never gets stagnated. It's always moving, and it's like Asia is so much more athletic than she was able to show in the under Bill Laimbeer in the previous offense. So I think that's gonna bode well in the playoffs if everybody stays healthy. I'm breaking your balls a little bit, but I absolutely love the hire of Becky Hammon. I feel like she brings that, just that NBA pedigree to it. Yep. She's been in the systems with the best of the best, and I'm not taking women's basketball down a level at all. But what I'm saying is the innovations that happen on the NBA side, she came at the perfect time to bring that stuff.
She should be an NBA coach.
To the WNBA. Yeah, I can see that.
And I can see that. I think that's my point. I think she's here a couple years. And last thing, rumor came out. I put it in our group chat. I don't know if you didn't see it.
No, I saw that first thing this morning. I saw
NBA expansion, Seattle and Vegas.
Oh boy,
2025 season, and that's when they should kick off or tip off the season.
Mm-hmm. So hold on.
Yeah, I have a theory, but go ahead. Ahead.
I want to know personally.
I've been telling you this for years.
I want to know personally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had to kind of de facto switch to UNLV from my previous fanship.
Okay.
So I have to be quiet about that. You know what I'm saying? We got Aviators, we got Lights, Raiders. That was easy to do. Man,
I ain't switching the Lakers. No, that's not happening. That's not happening. We're not happening. That's not. Look at.
That's gonna be hard to do right there, man.
Here, I have a theory about this. Right? What if the team is owned by Mark Davis and Jay-Z? Becky Hammon's the head coach. This is just to get her acclimated, running the team to see how she could do till they get the expansion team here.
Jay-Z, Mark Davis, and Becky Hammon. We're gonna have a lot to write about. We'll have a lot to report if that's the situation.
I think Jay's looking to expand his money.
I mean, I think a lot of people looking to do that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think the Golden Knights was the big guinea pig for this market, and that went over well. And there are powers that be around the world that want to bite out of it right now, including the other major sports leagues. And expansion, as opposed to moving a new team here for the NBA, that's a really, really good thing.
That's a great the second expansion team here.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I feel like if that happens, you may as well open up the door, because MLS and MLB,
MLS is already coming. Yeah. And I think baseball, it comes down to the Oakland deal. But There's no easy way to transition from that subject to what we're going to get into. Unfortunately, it happened on your birthday down in Texas.
Yeah.
A teenager, a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, went into an elementary school after killing his grandmother and killed 19 students and a teacher, all in the same classroom. They all were fourth graders. This is becoming, here in the States, this is becoming something that it's the fourth one in the last month and a half. We're 2 weeks away. 2 weeks ago was Buffalo, New York. The next day was Orange County, California. And yesterday, as we record this, on Tuesday, it was in Texas. Look, mental health is a real deal. People's mental illness is a real deal. We don't talk about it or take it seriously enough. But I ask you this, because we've talked about this privately, and we may have talked about it on the show once. We have a generation that's lost, these young kids. And that's because there's a lost generation parenting. It's something you and I talked about over the weekend. But what role does music play in it? Because, you brought it up when you took your mom to go see Earth, Wind, and Fire, how it made you feel. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the music that you're hearing now, and it's about they're depressed, killing each other, killing somebody, and this is what these kids are listening to. Yeah. What role does music have on society, and how big of a role does it play into our youth?
I mean, naturally, it plays a huge role. Huge role. I mean, I'm a hip hop R&B artist from the 90s. You know what I'm saying? We was born out of the crack generation. I'm not proud at this age about some of the subject matter that I wrote back in those days. But then I'm like, why was I writing those subject matters? Why was I always talking about gunplay? Why is it always shoot 'em up, bang, bang? Why? Why is that the case? I've lived in 3 different countries. There has been a hip hop scene in each one of them. There is a certain amount of gang violence in each one of them. But they don't rap and sing about shoot 'em up, bang, bang. Why? Because it's not the thing to have a gun. Everybody doesn't have a gun. I was writing about shooting because I had guns. I was a child and it was easy for me to get guns. That's the problem. You can rap about, so I could sit and watch an old Western movie when I was young. I didn't go out and emulate it. I ain't had no horse. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a cowboy. But, when I hear Easy saying I'm a dump my gun, well, I got one of them in my room. That's the problem. Because at 13 and 14, I shouldn't be able to have one of those in my room. My counterpart in London, my counterpart in Berlin, in Sydney, in Toronto for that matter, doesn't have that access to that gun. And I'm a gun advocate. I got a lot of firepower right here in this place. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But there's got to be better regulation. It's like, okay, you have to go through so much to buy a house.
To get a passport.
You need to have it needs to be the same amount of diligence in digging into a person's past, finances, actions, whatever the case may be, to buy a firearm as it is to buy and finance some of the bigger things that we buy in our society. So yeah, music absolutely plays the part, and I'm not passing the buck at a lot of these artists from my era and even the ones now, because it's absolutely going back to just savagery on records these days. It's so much just hate and evil involved in the majority of the songs that we like, that yeah, it absolutely plays a part. But the most dangerous part is the ability of people in the condition of the terrorists yesterday to be able to get firearms, man. It's too easy.
Part of me thinks that in this, we only talk about what's happening here in the States, right? Because I know this goes worldwide. We have fans in Europe, Australia, throughout the world. I think insurances need to be involved when getting a gun license, and they need to do a mental health and wellness check. Because no parent needs to feel what, and I can speak for this as being one of those parents, the loss of a child.
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
Like, literally, some of those parents yesterday sent their kids to school, fed them breakfast for the last time, gave them a kiss, told them have a good day. See you when I get home from work. That's the last time they seen their kid alive.
Fourth graders, man. Fourth graders.
Some of those parents, literally an hour or two earlier, left their award ceremony where they seen their kids get awards for being honor roll students, for bringing perfect attendance, homework club for the final time.
Yeah.
And bro, this one hits me different. I don't know. I mean, yesterday I was working. We were, we have a side project we're working on. So I took a lot of time yesterday in researching a lot of things, and didn't hit me until after I made dinner last night. Mm-hmm. And after I ate, I sat down, and it was all across my timeline. And it hit me different to the point where I went on live on IG and talked about it. Mm. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. And I'm pissed because we spend so much money and people bitching and complaining here in America about abortion rights and right to choose or gas prices. There's a bigger epidemic. These children are killing each other, killing innocent people. People are killing innocent children. Yeah. At some point, we got to look in the mirror and say we failed as parents. Because, a good friend of ours over the weekend brought something to our, I've never thought about it the way he said it. We were raised in the generation where you came home, Skip Rock and Mama had dinner. Yeah. I came home, my grandma had dinner ready. Yeah. We sat down and we ate.
Right. Together
as a family. We talked about what happened. We heard about Pop's day. We heard about Skip Rock's day. We heard about everything. What was your day at school like? Right. But then in the 90s, when we were growing up, that generation didn't have it. Yeah. There's a whole lost generation of parenting. And our generation, we were babies having babies. So then when those young moms became older, they still were going out. And those little kids that are now teenagers were raising themselves. They're coming home and they get they eat a quick breakfast because mom got to go to work. They eat a toaster strudel or a Pop-Tart. Yeah. They have $5 to go get lunch or to get something to eat. They go to the liquor store and they get a soda, they get some candy and some chips, go to school. That's what they're eating. And they're listening to this music.
Yeah, it all makes sense. That all makes sense. I completely understand where you're coming from. And it's a valid point. I think we also come from a big divorce generation. Yes. Also. It's divorce, incarceration, infidelity, fathers, infidelity, all of that stuff plays a part, man, in the difference between just society. I feel like we was more tribal, you know what I'm saying? Like in my neighborhood, like anybody could whoop your ass if you was cutting up. Anybody's parent. You know what I'm saying? Now try that. Your kid could be completely in the wrong. Your next door neighbor brings his little ass to the house and say, look, I popped him upside his head because he was being disrespectful. You can start a fight.
Did you see that little boy? It happened down in Texas. Go figure. The little boy went to the neighbor's house with a whip. Yeah. And then the father went to go talk to the other father, and he pulled out a gun. Talk about,
yes, man. And
it shoots the gun on the ground. Like, are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous.
Why the hell is a little white boy? First of all, does he have a whip going to a African American person's house and talking about, bring your daughter out here?
Parenting. What do you mean why?
No, there's no parenting. That's the problem.
I'm saying, but he got all that at home. Yeah. He got that idea at home, some kind of way. So it goes right to what we're saying, man. It's an epidemic here in America. It's been an epidemic. It's it's underserved. Nobody's talking about it. And yeah, I completely understand that mental health and the lack of services for mental health. It's at an all-time low. It's just never been serviced correctly in this country, probably in the world. But at the same time, that goes into a lot of sectors. You know what I mean? The most important sector here regarding this subject is there are too many guns in America that are accessible to people who shouldn't have them. It's a part of being an American, the right to defend yourself against whoever. I mean, if it comes to a point where you got to defend yourself against the damn police, you're an American. That's your right. It was written into your Constitution that you can bear arms. I don't want to see that right taken away from us. Okay. Under no circumstances. I agree with there has got to be regulation, and it's got to be a difficult thing to get a gun.
I get that, but let me ask this. And I ask this in all seriousness. And I was talking about it with Trish on the way to the studio today. Why the hell do you got to have an AR-15 or an AK-47 or some, I'm going hunting. So you're gonna eat that meat that you just shot up. That meat's gonna explode everywhere. You're not gonna eat it. So what's the point of having something like that? There's no point. There's no rhyme or reason other than I just want to have. It's like a dude with a little dick that drives a big truck.
I mean, man, I don't even think it goes that far, especially with men. It's like, come on, man, we like fast cars. We want to have the fastest car on the block. Like, you want to have the hottest motorcycle. You want to have this. You want to have that.
I want to be told this shit ain't gonna happen.
Okay, but if you want a 50 drum, you can go and find one. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you want a 100-round banana clip, you can go and find one. That's different from wanting to be tall. And I think the problem is the fact that it's not about a person wanting it. It's about the availability. There are people walking around the city of London right now that wish they had an AK-47 with a 100-round clip. They can't get one.
Good. We need that here.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we're saying the same thing.
Absolutely.
We're just saying it loudly. But that's my point. Like I'll put it to you like this. I'm so frustrated, and I've been so frustrated over the last 2 months, 3 months with the direction of music and what I'm listening to. Mm-hmm. And I hate to be this guy to get off my lawn guy because that's never been me, as you know. Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm listening to like New Edition, 90s R&B, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, I want everybody that watches this and listens to this, I'm asking you to do something. I got a little test. You, Trish, everybody. Listen to what's going on. Marvin Gaye. Tell me that does not apply to what's going on in the world today.
Come on, man. That's been applying for so long. It's been applying since he wrote it.
Exactly.
That's timeless music. But I also feel like, and I'm not normally the conspiracy theorist, but I've been in the rooms when the music business decides to make a shift. I've seen it happen before. I've seen it happen numerous times. And I think that we could be on the cusp of that right now because artists dying in the streets equals record companies and huge corporations losing money.
Yeah, loss of revenue.
At a certain point. And when they lose money, they take actions. And the type of action they take is far reaching because of the amount of partners they have within whatever that money making model is. The amount of products that they may attach that music to, attach that licensing to. When it starts going like it's been going the last couple of years, where it's this rapper dies, that rapper dies, this rapper
RICO
dies,
charges.
Then this rapper kills another rapper, or a friend kills another one, then gets on the record and raps about it, then he gets killed, and then that one gets on there and raps. So at a certain point, there's some powers that be that say, hold on, this is affecting our bottom line. Can't get down with Pepsi if these dudes are going to be out here killing each other. But if I sign an Adele, if I sign Camila Cabello, or I'm saying people's names
Bruno
wrong.
Mars.
If I sign one of them, then my money can work. So there's a certain kind of music that's going right now that people are into. Within that sector, you got a lot of violence. You got a lot of people being killed. There is no message. It's just ridiculous. If I was to find out years down the road that some major record companies got together and said, okay, we're going to clean this up now, I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm going to leave that.
Well, maybe that's we should leave the show where it is right there. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the families that have lost somebody over the last, through this whole ordeal, from Buffalo to Orange County to now in Texas. Hopefully there's nothing.
And honestly, all the way back, because
yeah, for real.
Seeing this happen again, I'm sure touches those families from Columbine. And touches those families from the school up in Connecticut, and that countless other times.
Sadie Hook.
Yeah, I hate the fact that we have to continue to relive this. I hope that we could figure out a way to get better, but we just want to let all of you know the hearts of the franchise are with y'all. Victims, the fact that it's little children, man, it's heartbreaking, and we got to figure out a way to do better as a society, from the top down to the bottom. Those card-carrying NRA members, I understand your rights. I understand your rights as an American, but at some point, you got to look at the TV and see that this is happening too much. Have some compassion, man. Let's try to figure out some kind of regulation to keep guns out of the wrong hands.
With that being said, that's it for this week's show. I want to thank the Liquids Club for their sponsorship. Go to theliquidsclub.com. Trisha LaClaus directing us. And I want to thank you for listening. So
let's go out silent today, man.